Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Rubbin' His Racing podcast with myself, Spider. Quiggs is in a sex dungeon somewhere, and then we got Moonhead, an undisclosed location. Owen, as always, will be the voice of God off in the distance. And this episode is brought to you guys by Shady Rays. All right, guys, quick question. How are my Shady Rays basically the same quality as the $200 sunglasses I used to buy? And I'm not exaggerating. They feel every bit as premium as the expensive brands I've owned. Meanwhile, I'm wearing my Shady Rays to the lake, on the boat, at the racetrack, on the job, because if I drop them in the ocean, they replace them. If I knock them off a dock, they replace them. If I sit on them one day, they replace them. And here's the crazy part. They're actually premium. Polarized lenses that cut glare hard, super clear optics, durable frames with solid hinges, clean classic styles that look sharp without trying too hard. If you're outside, on the water, in the sun, driving every day, you need shades that actually perform. Go to ShadyRays.com, grab a pair, and get sunglasses with lost and broken protection. And we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to ShadyRays.com, use code RUBBIN for 50% off 2 or more polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And this podcast is also brought to you in part by DraftKings. Something big is coming. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with a massive deal, exclusive offers, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means from Texas to California to Florida, every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history, so get pumped. Get ready to celebrate. The new DraftKings customers sign up with code RUBBIN, spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days for all markets. That's code RUBBIN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Guys, welcome back. We are taping this on a Tuesday this week. We had a Saturday race this weekend. We're taping it on Tuesday, August 18th, which by chance is also Kyle Busch Day. To celebrate his 2 iconic numbers. 8/18 will be recognized as Kyle Busch Day, with the sport's entire industry, competitors, crew members, team owners, and corporate execs sharing their favorite memories of the 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion on multiple media platforms. I'll share my memory of Kyle Busch. I was walking across Broadway in Nashville, and I was stone drunk, and him and his lovely wife were walking out of a bar as I was walking in, and I said, "Hello, Samantha. Hello, Kurt." And he said, "Hey, I fucking felt terrible about myself." Like, you know what I mean? Just the Kurt Kyle. I'm sure he's been getting that since day one, and I'm glad he didn't call me out on it and tell me I was a douchebag. But either way, 8/18, throw that on the list of things that they're doing to celebrate the life of Kyle Busch after his tragic passing, including the hood this weekend. Spider, what did you think about Richmond and the hood on Austin Hill's car? It was kind of fucking cool, right?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I love Morgan and Morgan's involvement in NASCAR, whether it's Frankie Muniz, whether it's Kyle Busch. And I told the story of how I told the Morgan and Morgan clients that themselves, unfortunately, just days before Kyle's passing. So if we're doing story time, I will add that they sent me a nice signed Kyle Busch helmet. I think I shared this story on the show previously, but love what they're doing. It was great to see kind of them visible at the track this weekend. Obviously, the KFB tribute scheme, we saw them run on Sunday, but then also the Morgan & Morgan billboards surrounding the track. I thought it was great to see them. They really bought in. And, a lot of times these sponsorships just seem kind of transactional or transactional.
Transactional,
Yeah, whatever the word is. It seemed like there was a real human connection between the sponsors and Kyle Busch. That's evidenced by kind of the way that he's been honored since this tragedy has occurred.
I will tell you, I wish the image was a little bit less gummed up on the roof. Like, I thought it was the bow, but you had to look at it. If you were close up, maybe it looked better on TV, but as we walk by to take a picture of it, but I'm just nitpicking here. Guys, it just came across Josh Berry might be the guy to jump into the 33 as opposed to Austin Hill while we're talking about Kyle Busch. That throws a wrench into things. About 4 weeks ago, we were talking about how there was nothing going on in silly season. And as we're going to talk about today, obviously, we don't have a guest today. Silly season has been thrown into absolute disarray for the next 2 seasons after the announcement yesterday that Connor Zilic was going to go over to the Evil Empire of Hendrick, which is awesome for him. I didn't see Austin Hill jumping into Kyle's seat as being something that I was too pumped about. That's nothing personal. I mean, I know we call him Austin Heel and he does a bunch of shit, but I wasn't too crazy about it. I'm getting there a little bit with Josh Berry. How do you feel about that? And nothing's happened. Nothing's announced. But Josh Berry to the 33. We're going to talk about a lot of hypotheticals today. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I would prefer Josh Berry in the car over Austin Hill. And that's, again, no, just as an outside fan. I think Josh Berry has been the guy. And, Austin Hill's gotten some reps this season, obviously due to unfortunate circumstances. But Josh Berry's had pretty good amount of experience on the cup level now, and he's the guy I think would be better suited to drive one, especially if a team with only two cars. It's not like you can really afford to have like a developmental guy. So you kind of need guys that are able to keep the car clean and compete consistently. And I think Josh Berry's a better answer than Austin Hill. We talked about guys like Noah Gragson previously prior to him re-signing with Front Row Motorsport, but Berry, Gragson, either of those guys I would prefer over Austin Hill. And like you, Large, it's not a shot at Austin. It's just more of an experience thing.
What do you guys feel going forward? And yeah, we're the same page, Spider. How do you guys feel about Josh Berry possibly wheeling the 33?
I think it's a good move. I think it's a good spot for him to go. He's kind of picked it up towards the end of this season, and even going further, has run really well when he's in the right equipment. I don't think he's going to be like, which RCR is probably not expecting him to be. They probably know for the most part what they're going to get, which is going to be he's going to be Josh Berry, which is good, but like, I like the move for everyone involved. It's just not going to be earth shattering, I don't think.
Is it a lateral move?
I mean, I don't know, because the Wood brothers, he's basically driving a Penske car, and I feel like as soon as Penske was good, he was good this year. He's had a lot of bad luck. He's torn a lot of shit up along the way, so he hasn't had the greatest, year overall, but I think when he has the car under him, he does great. So I'd agree. I think that him going to RCR would be good if it happened. I think Austin Hill, I don't know if he's cut out for cup racing, really. I mean, I'm not saying that he couldn't eventually win one day, but I could see him really tearing it up in Xfinity or O'Reilly, and he's kind of what that series needs as like an older OG, or kind of the black hat OG, but maybe the anti-Justin Allgaier in a way. But yeah, I think that it would be a good move because Barry really, as far as I know, doesn't have any other options in Cup, at least not competitive ones. And I haven't heard any rumblings of anything enticing in the O'Reilly series other than hypotheticals. So if it came to be, I think it would be potentially a career saver.
It's definitely a step back, though, Large. You asked if it's a lateral.
Yes.
It's definitely a step back. I'm with Moonhead. I mean, Penske versus RCR. I know, obviously the Fords leave a little bit to be desired, but Penske and their associated cars, i.e. the Wood brothers, are way better equipment than RCR.
Which I think is great. And if we think about what has happened to Josh Berry over the last month, like he became a guy that was known as, I'm an older rookie when they had brought him up, but he's a wheelman. Then he won a race and kind of everyone was like, Josh Berry is a good driver. And then when they announced the Jesse Love move for that 21 car, Spider and I can tell you with 100% confidence, Josh Berry looked like the loneliest guy in the field this weekend. We got to the driver's meeting a little bit earlier as we were walking around Richmond, and we got there. He's like kind of by himself in the front row, a little bit mopey. And maybe I'm putting that on him because, I know of all the headlines. And now he's back in the mix. Like I'm hoping that something good happens to him. Not that I'm hoping ill will on Austin Hill, but I always thought that Austin was going to be temporary for that. So, hopefully you get some fresh set of downs on this, Barry, if it winds up coming true. We do have a lot to talk about, but I will mention another couple of headlines that came across. So NASCAR is obviously having the championship this year at Miami. We're all excited about it. They put $20 million into Miami. I've said on numerous occasions the place is a great track that looks like you're in a fucking La Quinta. So hopefully like they did some, just some good stuff with their suites for me, and all that other stuff that makes it a little more palatable to be a championship track. whatever NASCAR has seen so far, they like, because they announced that they'll also be the championship track for 2027. I hate the way NASCAR is dribbling out this schedule for next year, but at least we know that next year it was supposed to be like one of those rotating championship things after they decided to leave Phoenix. This year and next year will be at Miami. I'm cool with that. I'm sure you guys are as well. But another thing that we had seen right before we got on here in the schedule, Spider, you had seen something on your new hometown since you abandoned me in New York. What's going on in Chicago?
Yeah, it looks like the Chicago NASCAR race next year will be at Joliet and not the Chicago street course. I know there was some discussion on whether it would go back to the street course or whether it would go back to Chicagoland Speedway. It sounds as if pre-recording, Jordan Bianchi, I believe it was the one that reported it would return to Chicagoland Speedway. So Joliet, not not Grant Park. It will be in Joliet.
How do you feel about that? As the Chicago guy, as the voice of the Midwest, you and Quiggs, you're there. You see how much it disrupts the town. Not as much as it would New York, because it's off to the side, and Chicago is just bigger than New York when you look at the geography of it. It's not 10 pounds of shit fit into a fucking 5-pound island. How do you guys feel about the move out there? I like it because I wasn't a fan of the street course there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It's good to have either. I know that is kind of a cop-out answer, but I like the street course. I do think it kind of got stale and it was time for a change. But I would like to see it be something that maybe they like alternate or go every other year or something like that to keep it fresh. My one big ask with coming back to Chicago, wherever it was that it just wasn't on the 4th of July. And it sounds like that will not be the case. So I have nothing to complain about, honestly. But I am interested to hear Quig's perspective on all of it.
I mean, I think Joliet's the right move. The Chicago experiment ran its course. I think a place that's meant to bring in new fans shouldn't have the qualify. Like, I feel like me and Spider probably said this to a lot of people. It's a lot of people's first race they go to, and you're kind of constantly saying, like, trust me, the other races are a lot better to watch than this one. Just the way a street course is laid out and how it is, and it's like, I don't know. I just feel like if you brought them to Joliet, you could kind of be like, all right, this is more like the races you'll see. If you like this, you'll be into NASCAR. And I think as long as Joliet can remain being like selling out and being successful, I don't see a reason to need to bring back the Chicago street course.
Which one would you go to if you had the free ticket to either? Moonhead, would you want to do the street course or go out to Joliet?
Yeah, it'd be hard to turn down Chicagoland, but I will say my time at the street course, like everything, this sounds like a real downer answer, but like being in Chicago was badass. And I think we need street courses at least once a year that are in similar environments where there's a lot of shit to do other than the race around. Like, I think that's the best way to do that. But to Quig's point, when you've got Chicago right down the road and you're basically having to say, yeah, the racing sucks, but if you go to these other tracks, it's actually good. That's not the greatest selling point. So I hope we get some sort of street course or wacky track of some sort, maybe not wacky, but you know what I mean? Some sort of non-conventional venue race in its place going forward, whether it's the naval base or something like that.
Maybe up in Montreal or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
Let's go to fucking Japan. Spider, it was my first time in Richmond for a race. It was your second time in Richmond for a race, third time total, because I had that failure to get in the car with Dale once. So I didn't have fond memories of Richmond because I got fat shamed. This wasn't a huge deal. So going back to Richmond, I was a little bit skeptical. We stayed downtown, which is a little bit bleak. There's not a lot going on downtown. Went to a couple of restaurants in the suburbs, not even in the suburbs, like 10 minutes away, and had a lovely time. 2 different suburbs. I actually went to 3 different ones, and like a lovely area. So I kind of like Richmond, and we were 15 minutes from our hotel to the track. That never happens for us. So sign me up for that and the whole deal. What was your take on? It was fucking hot as shit. Talk to me about Richmond and the Denny Bros and our reception while while we were there, because I'm leaving Richmond with an all around pretty good taste in my mouth.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think this was like, not to be like a egomaniac or anything, but this was one of the bigger recognition racetracks I think we have for us, Large. A lot of people,
personally, yeah.
A lot of people were coming up and saying hello, which obviously makes the race day that much more fun, getting to meet a bunch of people. But yeah, I thought we had a great day overall. I mean, it was super hot, but Richmond it's like the perfect short track. I mean, there's great angles to watch the race on. Everything is pretty compact and accessible. You don't have to walk super far to get anywhere aside from maybe the credential cabin. But I thought it was great. And then we get up to the suite. The Dogwood suites were unbelievable. You could see the entire track from there. Beautiful place to watch the race from. So yeah, I have no complaints. I thought Richmond is great. And I also had a great time in the city of RVA, at Scott's Addition particularly. Ebo from Almost Sports had recommended that I go to one of the card shops there. So I went to the store and I got some really good stuff, including this Connor Zilish out of 15 autograph. So check out Graybo Sports Cards if you're ever in the Richmond area. There's a bar attached to it, so you can get drinks and rip packs. Pretty fun concept.
Don't sleep on Spider with this collectible thing. Every time we go to a race, there is so much in the culture baked in for card collectibles now. I mean, we always knew about the die cast, obviously. But every time you find like the new angle. So having this, what was the name of the place again? I'm sorry.
Graybo's Sports Cards.
So sports bar and like the card store next door. It seems like these guys fucking get it.
2 holes of mini golf. They were doing birthday parties.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool spot.
It's new for me. Like, I don't know anything about it. I bought some packs. I told you, I gave you that one where it had you in it as a surprise and stuff. I can't believe how big it's gotten. Yeah, that's the Spider with Livy Dunn or whatever the fuck, Liv Morgan. That's what I gave him. That's his rookie card right there. But no, it's such like a huge thing, and it's become a huge part of NASCAR.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it always was the collectible. We see people
the cards though. Were they?
I think so. I mean, the die cast, the card.
We're just in a card boom right now.
I agree with that for sure.
The market is high, so everybody's more into it than usual.
But I also think like that's a really like respectfully a lazy way to put it, because I would argue that NASCAR fans have always been super big collectibles. Big into collectibles. How many times have we seen someone walking down pit road with somebody's fucking hood or a bumper or something they want to get signed? They're just carrying it around.
Some guy had one chained around his neck so he didn't have to hold it because he knew he was going to be online for an hour. So he had almost like a dog chain with a corner panel hanging off of it, just to go over and get Todd Gilliland to sign the Grillo's pickle bumper or some shit.
Yeah.
So, and I always see the people with the bubble wrap around the die casts going up to the thing. Just the only thing showing on the car is where they want them to sign. Like, that's how treasured they are. And cards, like to Quiggs's point, I guess we haven't been paying attention to them in this arena. I've only thought of cards with baseball. That's how I grew up. So baseball cards were always like the king of the fucking road. And now it seems like it's everything. The Denny Bros were down there, did their whole cookout thing and whatnot. Everyone's like, oh, you're going out to the Denny Bros thing. We never made it out there just because, first of all, it was hot as dick out there this weekend. Holy shit, with intermittent showers and whatnot. And we were lucky enough to be down there with the Body Armor people. So we were, being pulled around a little bit. Shout out to Chris Conklin, who's the gas man for the 12 team, came out and did some content with us with Body Armor, as did Ryan Blaney. So it was nice to see all those. By the way, shout out to that other kid, that kid in the wheelchair. What the hell was his name again?
Gavin Grubbs. He's awesome.
Oh, that fucking kid was awesome. I said, do you know who this kid is, Quiggs?
No.
He's a kid in a wheelchair, and he used to be like a viceroy for us for like
Arkansas State. Yeah.
And kids, so he does some stuff with Joey, I believe. He does some stuff with Penske in general.
Yeah, he's like there's this camp called Victory Junction where it's all kids with like disabilities, whether physical, whatever, and they all go there. I think it's the Petties are heavily involved. Gavin's heavily involved. And they were on.
It's a North Carolina thing, right?
Yes, I think
they do stuff with NC State football.
Yeah, so they were on Ty Gibbs' car this week, and Gavin's the biggest Joey Logano fan on earth, but he was like regrettably wearing a Ty Gibbs shirt and mentioned that to us, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, he's awesome, Large.
I'm gonna have him on. We're gonna have him on the show. I mean, I rapid fire questions at him. I'm a moron. And I rapid fire questions on him. Same ones that I think I threw at Steve Letarte, and the kid was just hitting out of the park.
He had unbelievable, great takes on like well thought out answers and replies to all Large's hypotheticals.
Yeah, I got a little bit overserved. Some guy had hit me in a DM. Oh, looking forward to, we're going to be here if you want to stop by. Love to take a picture. And I said, I'll see if I can get there. And he DM'd me back. We took a picture about an hour ago. I'm like, oh, fuck. I apologize. But all in all, like I'm saying, we had somebody down there who had never really had worked with us, Devin, and she had a wonderful time, the hospitality and the suites. Richmond's a pretty cool place. I didn't think the racing was, that exciting for me. Particularly from where we were in the stands, we had the vantage point of everything. We had a beautiful vantage point of the whole thing. This is me flexing. I apologize. But after a while, it did start to get a little bit boring. I don't know what the race wound up doing on Gluck's poll, but I'm assuming it would be somewhere below 70. So that's it. How do we feel about For the Haters, Spider? The Joey Logano picks up a win here, his second win of the season. Joey Logano has as many wins as Hendrick Motorsports. And sort of like the all-in with the LL being the 11s and stuff, Joey's now doing For the Haters because he's going after his 4th championship. I love Joey. I got no problems with it. I fucking hate this. Yeah. I don't like it.
No, okay. I disagree.
You like it?
Yeah. I think right now, like, you know how many times he's had to answer for, like, I heard a guy literally last week call his championship to his face in the media center a Mickey Mouse championship, which I would never have
all of them
they
called it.
Granted, we've asked him similar questions on this show. I'm not going to sit here and act like we're innocent ourselves, but my point is he's had his resume scrutinized time and time again when, as he said multiple times, all he did was follow the rules and execute them better than the rest of the field. He didn't, take shortcuts or do anything out above the rules, anything like that. So he confirmed he has a chip on his shoulder, and I kind of think it's good. Like if I'm a Joey Logano fan, I'm pumped. The trends are there's reason to be bullish on what he can achieve the rest of the year based on historical trends. And it seems like he's a little bit annoyed that people have kind of discredited his accomplishments. So I'm here for it. Hungry dogs run faster and hungry drivers drive faster, I guess.
I hear you. That's perfect. My mic keeps cutting out. I apologize. He was 20th in points 6 races ago. He jumped 4 spots this week. In the post-race thing, he was like, I'm just hoping we can eventually get into the top 10. And whoever the one was like, you're number 9 right now. He's like, hey, look at me. So I don't think he has the tear to get into the top 6. He just doesn't for the rest of it, especially with there's too many 1.5-mile tracks left, in the chase for Fords. But it's been nice to see what he's doing. Has he become more or less likable, Joey Logano? Because he's getting the open booze now. He was on DBC this week. That's why we don't have him. I didn't want to dupe that because we had to do Corey Haim with a dupe a couple of weeks ago. But he was showing some personality. Is Joey Logano getting more likable to you or less likable to you now that he's working out of this like underdog thing in a different format?
I personally have grown to love Joey over the last several years. And I think, again, we need to give people their flowers in real time. Joey's been a mainstay. He's a household name at this point. He's probably one of the bigger stars in NASCAR. And, he's a great driver. He has a great list of accomplishments to support it. So I like him. And then, Large, you combine that with, like, interactions like we had with him this weekend at the track. Like, the Penske guys,
for shaving tips.
The Penske guys are awesome. I neglected to shout them out previously, but Blaney, the whole team, as well as Joey, and also the body armor people. They make our job so easy there. It's like we literally are going to like a high school reunion with like old friends. We just say hello to these drivers, and they make it incredibly easy. So I don't know. I'm biased, but I'm a Joey guy.
Yeah, you guys coming around on it? I knew you hate him, Quigs.
No, I don't hate him. I'm at the point where it's he won, and I'm like, good for Joey.
Okay.
I think any of these guys like that have been around long enough, you have to respect them, and the less somebody wins, the harder it is to actually have like a constant hate for him. And yeah, am I like Joey Logano's the fucking man? No, not really. But yeah, no, I like Joey. I think Joey's, yeah, I was happy for him winning.
He doesn't want to wear the black hat, Moon. So what should Joey Logano do with the booze at the beginning of these races?
Well, I mean, I think as time goes on, everybody's going to start appreciating Joey more, kind of like what we've seen with Denny Hamlin. Yep. And as much as we've all kind of hated the format that he won his championships under, and as much as people like to discredit him, what a way it would be for him to shut everybody up, to come from
crazy
out of the cutoff, I think, at one point, to in it, and now a contender to win it. So I think that in itself is cool. The tagline's a little cheesy, yes, but
I hate it.
You know, it's kind of right. It's kind of a cool thing we're witnessing. So yeah, I'm right there with Quiggs. I'm not going to buy a Joey Logano t-shirt or nothing anytime soon, but I'm not booing him right now. Like, I thought it was cool that he won, and I think it's going to be cool if he goes all the way.
And again, we're not saying that this guy is winning a championship this year, but he was
could.
20th in points 6 weeks ago. He's 20th in points 6 weeks ago, and now he's 9th. There's a big jump between 9th and that ever-knowing 6 and up are the only people that can mathematically win unless there are some miracles. So, yeah, can Joey go on a career-defining run and win this whole goddamn thing? Sure. Is that the probability? Probably not. So, but I am saying that now that he's fighting out of that underdog position, I think it kind of suits him. I listened to some of the DBC stuff, and he kind of like settled in there with Freddie and whatnot. So, I don't know, I'm liking what I see. Spider, one of the things that we did look around when we were at the track, another sellout. Another announced sellout at Richmond. So it was kind of nice to see. Congratulations to them. Another thing that we noticed, which everyone else noticed right away, we had a lot of Fords up there. The top 5 was Ford heavy for most of the race, between the 12, the 2, the 22, and then Josh Berry in the 21. Josh Berry going back-to-back top 10s and being rumored to be in Kyle Busch's seat. You know, that's a nice little turn of events for him. And ultimately, Hendrick got all 4 into the top 10, but they led collectively 2 laps the whole race. So even though Hendrick is starting to improve, if you're just watching the box scores, I think there's a little bit more underneath that. As long as we're handing out flowers, Chase Briscoe has never led a lap before at Richmond. Calls it his worst track. He finished P2. He led 171 laps. And if we're going to give out flowers, let's also light bags of shit on front doorsteps. Priest is not doing what he should. He's probably the only bubble guy that still has a shot, and I know those 25 points that he got dinged are going to come back to haunt him, but we're constantly looking for Brian Priest to kind of step up in these tracks along with the rest of RFK. We just haven't seen it yet. And then Hocevar is disappearing. Hocevar went from 5th to 11th in 2 weeks. So there's a lot of shit going on in this, and this is the point I'm going to bring up to you guys and see if you're in simpatico with me. I love what's going on with the chase. I'm not good at this fucking math. Like, until somebody says to me where they are, I don't know where anybody fucking is anymore. Maybe because I need it immediately, and that's on me. But Quiggs, you're the resident rocket science.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking math, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
it's
I've
a
always
mystery.
I've been a calculator guy. I've never been a mental math guy.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, you know, burn bars and all that kind of stuff have been additions. But as I'm seeing during the race going, they're saying Joey just leapt to 9th. And I know a lot of it hinged on Austin Cindric's performance and, you know, everybody around him. So you have to keep in mind all these other things. A lot of math involved with these. Still loving the chase format more than anything. Everybody else still on the same page here. Chase going into the chase. This is fucking awesome this season, right?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, you mentioned Carson Hocevar. I saw people online suggesting that he intentionally wrecked himself out of this race. I'm not qualified to speak on that, but I did see people saying that, and I just have a hard time understanding how that would be the case when, like you said, Lard, she's been slipping points tremendous.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. All right. Well,
he's been racing cleaner, so I'll have more friends.
According to @MechanicsShine on Twitter, in case anyone is interested, because Letarte and Burton aren't going to spill this, Hocevar smoked that tranny or motor on purpose. He was done ready to pack it in. Been there before. Tough night. I get it. Still sucks for them. The amount of traction this tweet has leads me to believe that there's like more to the story than I'm seeing. But
another trolley account that got a ton of traction on Corey Day after the Connor Zilic thing.
Are we sure that's rage bait?
I think, I mean, from what I understand, that's what the guy kind of does and puts out fishing. I won't give it any kind of shine here. And we'll talk about it because
we got to talk about Zilly.
Yeah. But before we do, I just want to mention to anyone, no matter where you're going or what race you're watching, from the first lap till the checkered flag, there's only one choice. Winning on race day is all about momentum, and nothing matches the energy, excitement, and adrenaline quite like Cuervo. Whether you're at home, in the infield, up in a luxury suite, or taking over the tailgate, Cuervo is the winning move that elevates any race into an occasion you'll remember. So no matter who's in victory lane, you can win every race day. From the first lap to the checkered flag, keep it Cuervo. Before we move on and talk about Zilic, what do we have to talk? Oh, can we talk about Kyle Larson? I'll throw something out here with you guys too. I still fucking hate this. I hate it. I hate the guy jumping out of his car, hopping on a chopper or whatever the fuck he did, going to Iowa. And I know it was a huge race out there and winning it against a bunch of guys that I've never heard of before in my life. Meanwhile, his team has the same amount of wins as Joey Logano, and he hasn't won a race in a year and a half. It doesn't bother anybody. Is it just me that this doesn't bother you fucking guys, or is anyone in agreement with me?
I mean, I don't really see the issue, honestly. I do think it's a little bit concerning. Like, it does seem like a big part of Larson's efforts are other disciplines of racing, and maybe even the main priority a lot of times. But I think it's good. I think it's exciting. It's good to have him involved in other stuff and hopefully transfer those fans on there. I've said it time and time again. I thought it was a cool storyline. It did, though, I guess if I'm going to be critical again, it felt like he was more prioritizing that event than the Cup race, which is a little bit concerning, especially given where Hendrick's at. But I don't really have an issue with it.
And he did, what is P6, right?
Yeah.
Is that what he, yeah, so he's P6. So, I mean, he did take care of business for all intents and purposes, and he wasn't looking to jump out because he didn't know about the rain delays in Iowa.
Right.
Until, they were like, rain delays, we're going to get you there. He's like, what? I'm going to Iowa? Then jumped out and got on his hat and went, and he beat them. I just remembered when I was trading, like when Citigroup was paying me to be a trader. I traded utilities. I was a block trader for Citigroup. Threw around huge positions. Terrible at my job. So let's say I had a pretty good day trading. Came out net positive and a bunch of commissions and no P&L. But then I rushed out and my boss bought me a fucking car to take me to someplace else so I could online trade for something else and absolutely fucking kill it. Like I can't get my fucking head around it for some reason. Like Rick Hendrick should be like, well, we just signed a stud who's a couple of years away from, first of all, from being in our camp. And also maybe a couple of years from that, from being in. We need this guy to win fucking races. Like we need him to win a race, even though he has a championship before since he's won his last race. It just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know why. And I've spoke to Kyle Larson about this. So Moonhead, you're the traditionalist. It doesn't fuck with you at all?
No, because that's Kyle Larson. Like that's what makes him him. I think that Tony Stewart was the same way. There's a lot of other guys who have kind of, tried it, but I feel like Stewart was the one who I'd put in the category of Larson, who kind of had to do that to stay sane, I feel like, because of the pressures of NASCAR. And the Knoxville Nationals, too, like, that's one of the biggest races in the country. Like,
it's fucking huge. I said he beat plumbers and stuff. I was just using that old cliche. He beat a bunch of plumbers and whatnot. I don't mean it. It Knoxville National, it looks like a great fucking event. I'm not putting it down. Please don't. But it's not the Cup Series. And it's not the place that signs his fucking check. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it's also such a big part of his story. And, like, those guys are all, like, anybody who's making the feature at Knoxville races for a living. Like, they're the best of the best in sprint car racing and, make a lot of, they're not small money operations either. So he won $200,000 to win the race. So I think that alone kind of legitimizes it. And, like I said, the big thing is that's what makes Larson. Like I do think that dirt racing probably means more to him than NASCAR racing at this point, because that's what made him. That's where he learned everything he knows. And I feel like he's proven he's one of the best in the Cup Series. And yeah, Hendrick's struggling right now, and maybe his mind's not all there, but he ran 6th at Richmond and then went and won the biggest sprint car race in the world. So I think I wouldn't sound the alarm over that. I think that he focuses where he feels like he should.
Yeah, I've never had a situation where an athlete was able to do that. I can't think of it. And NASCAR, like you said, Tony Stewart, perfect example, and I don't have that in my quiver. But I don't know of an athlete who has stepped off a baseball diamond and they're, somebody choppered them to a fucking, I don't know, I can't even think of a fucking analogy. It pisses me off for some reason.
I think NASCAR's the unique situation, though. I mean, you have guys like Dale Sr. and Denny Hamlin owning teams and then driving for other teams, and it's never been a clean comparison to any other sport.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of what makes it so unique.
But we all know about focus, right? Like focusing on a task and when you have a dirt race going on legitimately right after you hop out of the car, it doesn't look that bad because he was P6 and he won. But if he was P32 and came in 10th there, what the fuck are we doing? I'm asking Ross Chastain to run less Truck Series because of his performance this year. If it happens to somehow coordinate with the amount of trucks he's driven this year, then have him stop doing a fucking Truck Series. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's always been my mindset. But it leads me to my next question then, because Moonhead brings it up. That's what made him Kyle Larson, dirt racing and doing all this stuff. Does Larson retire in a couple of years? Because we're going to talk about the Hendrick camp in detail in a couple of minutes. Kyle Larson is 34 years old, turned 34 in July, so he's a young 34 years old. There's 10 guys exactly, I think, older than him or the same age as him in the Cup Series right now. So he's in the higher third or older third of current drivers. How long do you think Kyle Larson does this? He's got 2 chips already and a love for doing everything else as well. Does Kyle Larson race in his 40s? I don't think so. I think he said he'd like to race up until he's 40, but do you think he does this for another 6 years?
I think a lot of it's contingent on Connor Zilisch, honestly. I think we're kind of backwards in the conversation here. And
okay.
I say that because to me, I don't know if you saw the response, and actually you mentioned a little bit of it. Once Zilisch was announced to the 48, the Corey Day fans were like very, very upset, acting as if like it was a done deal that Corey Day was going to take the 48 car and he was next in line at Hendrick. And I just think that was kind of insane, but it also leads me to the point where I could see a scenario in which and I do agree. We have heard Larson say he wants to race into his 40s, but I could see him potentially stepping away and making way for a driver like Corey Day, especially given how involved he's seemingly been in the development of Corey Day himself. So, and that's what I mean when I say my concern with what happened this weekend with Larson was a priority thing, because like Moonhead said, I think he does find more pride in the dirt racing stuff than he does in NASCAR currently. So the question is, how long is he willing to continue racing in NASCAR if his heart's in a different place? And that's just my opinion. I don't know that for certain.
I don't think he makes 40. He's 34 years old. How long do you think he has left? Quiggs?
I'd say 10 years.
10?
Like, I think he just doesn't feel
Sure.
to me like, and 10 might be a lot. Like I think he makes 40. So
yeah, so that's 6 years. You know, Denny's in his 40s. There's a host of guys in their 40s but we start to see a decline, right? We've kind of seen it with McDowell and whatnot. Like people get less mentally acute as they get older. I wonder if he's the type of guy that will be able to do it. So you say that he will do it. Moon, where do you see this guy? Because his heart is also in doing other stuff. And then, Spider brings up the perfect point. You can park Corey Day in O'Reilly for another season, but then somebody's going to come after him. So if you don't get his ass into a Spire car and then waiting for Kyle Larson to fucking retire, then Hendrick is losing out on losing out on potentially a blue chip guy. For a Corey Day, Connor Zilisch, William Byron, Chase Elliott team in, 2030. right? So how long do you think Larson has, Moon?
Yeah, I think it really depends on a lot of the contracts and how they play out.
Yeah.
Because to your point, Corey would have to go to I don't think Larson wants Corey anywhere but where they have planned. So I think that could end up playing a big role for it, because I don't think Corey's going to sit in O'Reilly for 6 years. So they're going to have to do something, whether it's a Spire car or something like that. So I could see Larson getting close to 40, but I don't see him actually hitting the 40 mark unless he is just on an absolute fucking tear.
I agree. Unless he goes like what Denny Hamlin has done the last couple of years, I don't see Larson driving past 40 personally.
Yeah. Hall of Famer.
Oh.
Like I don't mean to take anything away from him. I have him signed that Chevy thing for me right there. I'm waiting to throw it up on eBay at some point. I mean, I respect the guy. I do. I just don't know what the longevity is. All right, we're going to talk about the biggest headline in NASCAR this week, which is going to be the Connor Zilisch news. And this next segment is brought to you guys by Mountain Dew. Summer is here, and I love to sit around and watch racing. Nothing goes better with a NASCAR race and hang with your friends than the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew was proudly born in the foothills of Tennessee. Enjoy the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew, an American original. Grab a Dew. It's been tasting great since 48. All right, so Zilisch, Bowman announces his retirement. Everyone knows that Zilisch is going to be jumping into that car, and then it comes to fruition this week with Connor taking a picture today with Hendrick and Gordon and all that stuff, signing the actual papers. This is not a trade. Corey Day isn't going to track. There's nothing. Both these guys, Connor Zilisch, will be off of contract, and so will Alex Bowman. So this is him simply not resigning and signing with Hendrick. There wasn't any kind of sweetheart deal made on the side, at least that I know of. Before we break into this, I want to know, I do not like Shane Van Gisbergen. Was SVG a better fit for that 48 car than Connor Zilisch? Think about that for a second, because what they need right now is a couple of guaranteed wins as an organization. And I know nobody's panicking with Hendrick, I get it. But you bring in Shane Van Gisbergen, he's got 3 or 4 years left? Then you can go after Connor or something like that. Unless he gets poached somewhere else, I totally get it. But for that quick fix, and Connor is not guaranteed, does anyone agree with me that Shane Van Gisbergen might have fit better in that seat than Connor Zilisch?
No, I don't.
No?
I don't. They're one of
fuckers.
They're one of
nobody ever agrees with me.
I think what you said about kind of it's a safer, more guaranteed, knowing how many
2
wins
wins
you're
a
gonna
season
get.
for the
They're
next
not
4
a
seasons.
backmarker team
that's
that
fine.
needs wins. They're guaranteed to win a couple races every season, no matter what, just by default. Also, they're one of the few teams with 4 charters. We've heard teams debate. Oh, I want more cars. I want to be able to own 4 cars. They're one of the few teams with that advantage. They can afford to have a developmental piece in their lineup, especially one they're willing to announce that they're signing fucking year and a half ahead of time. If there's a guy you do this for, it's Connor Zilisch. I think that's a crazy take, would be hire SVG. I mean, if they were going to do that, respectfully, Bowman would have been gone a long time ago if we're going to be making GM moves like that.
At least 2 wins this season for 4 seasons is what you're getting with SVG, who, by the way, is getting better on ovals. Hasn't had a good couple of weeks, whatever. He did okay this week. But 2 wins this season. I don't know. I think Connor's going to be very good. I think it's going to take some time. I don't know. I thought SVG might be better in there. Fucking leave Connor in the wings.
SVG has 2 wins this year.
SVG has the same amount of wins that Hendrick Motorsports has this year, by the way.
As much as Hendrick
has doubled their productivity.
He's sitting right on the cut line.
Yeah. I mean, Hendrick is really the winners in all of this, as far as I'm concerned. We can talk about how much they're struggling or underwhelming this season, but the reality of it is they just got Justin Marks and Trackhouse to essentially, do all the development on the cup level for Connor Zilisch, rather, before he ultimately will take the 48. And there's still, a good portion of this season remaining, and then all of next season that are going to be reps for Zilisch to continue to learn. And I think by the time he's in the 48, hopefully he'll be equally, very competitive and a real threat to win on both ovals and road courses. And, he's absolutely the right decision, in my opinion, for this move.
All right, then. Does anyone like SVG instead of Connor? I'm on alone here. Okay.
No.
Okay. No, I hear you.
I
How
mean,
about this?
maybe-
I want to know. I got another one that's worse. So next season, right? Next season, if you're HMS, how many resources, and we know resources are this amorphous thing that people get at shops, and somebody's getting all the resources while they're not giving it to other cars, and HMS has a more difficult time because they have 4 cars. How many resources are they going to give to Alex Bowman? We've already seen that he will not be wheeling the 48 in the Daytona 500 next year, which I thought was disrespectful. If they're not going to be giving him resources, that makes Alex Bowman kind of a lame duck next season. If he does okay, that's great. But if not, he could just coast into retirement and maybe get a couple like gifts along the way. Connor Zilic next year for Trackhouse. How many fucking resources is Trackhouse going to give Connor Zilic? Honestly, Connor Zilic, if he gets an ounce of resources when that team is doing what they've been doing lately, then that's a travesty. I don't think Justin Marks would do that. It's just good business to not give resources to somebody who's not going to be there the following week. As long as you're not being like disrespectful, it's natural, it's business. Why doesn't Connor and Alex Bowman just swap next season? Because then you'd have a guy who's better on ovals in that Trackhouse equipment. They can give him good stuff. They can give him bad stuff. Who gives a fuck? He's out of there that year. And then Connor can drive in the second tier HMS car and sort of get reps within the team. I don't know. Is that a terrible idea for them to just swap for one season before we start talking about who should jump into the 88?
I mean,
I think it's a great idea for Hendrick.
It's a good idea, no?
For Hendrick. I don't think
I know.
I've been saying for
Trackhouse is
Well, why are
no
you saying that?
benefit from
Connor Zilic has not had the fucking season that Alex Bowman has this year, and Alex Bowman was out with fucking vertigo for part of it. Alex Bowman will perform better than Connor Zilic next season. Put that in the fucking books, right? Connor Zilic in Trackhouse equipment will not outperform Alex Bowman in HMS equipment next year. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
I don't, because Zilic is he's had a lot of bad luck this year on top of bad cars.
Bowman had fucking vertigo.
Yeah,
that's bad luck. It's fucking bad luck. He broke his back.
Also, they wouldn't trade him, because if they get rid of Bowman now, that's just a year he can go run his mouth and give up maybe what good they do have in the car. Whereas if they just keep him in house, they can figure shit out, send him out, make him look good.
All these,
but it sounds good. Doesn't it sound good to say out loud?
Good.
Every single one of these hypotheticals is just like they would have all been done before. I mean, Alex Bowman, in a perfect world, if we're playing NBA 2K, his ass would have been shipped out 3 years ago. Like this trade is, you gotta talk about real life here. These teams, the sport is predicated on sponsorship and shit. It's not as easy as just, trade, put this on, put that on.
But Ally is very much on board with Zilic going forward. And I think that Red Bull could be talked into Alex Bowman for a season. There would be a tremendous...
We're wasting
He's not flashy enough.
This is
Red
crazy.
Bull.
Respectfully, I'm sorry.
All right. I got nothing else. What you guys got? All right, how about this? Trackhouse?
They're fucked. They're fucked.
Okay, then can we agree on this? Trackhouse has been fucked since one day in particular, the day that Pitbull left. Can we all agree on that?
Honestly, I'm willing to agree with you on this one.
All right.
But on a real note, like Trackhouse should sell the Zilic charter, in my opinion, at the conclusion of next year. They should go back to a 2-car team. I think they fucked up when Pitbull left. It could also be pointed to when they added a 3rd car. It seems like as much as like you're proud of getting 2 wins a year for SVG, like that's the end of the world. Look at what's happened to Trackhouse in that time. They've been winning 2 races a year and falling off a cliff. So that's why I vehemently disagree with you. And I think it would be in their best interest to tighten the belt a little bit. It seems like they're in over a little bit over their head. I would like them to see them go back to a 2-car team and maybe sell the charter to a Legacy Motor Club or RFK Racing. Like those are more realistic, actual hypotheticals, I think, that are worth entertaining.
Who would you rather race for right now? Legacy or Trackhouse?
I mean, I think
Trackhouse.
yeah, Quigs and I are going to disagree on this. He's going to go Trackhouse. I'm going to go Legacy just because, I mean, the Toyotas have been running unbelievable, and I like what Legacy has been building. I think we're finally kind of starting to see those flowers blossom, and, you know, maybe not to their full growth yet, but I still think very impressed with what I've seen in Legacy.
Who goes to the 88? So we know who's going to the 48. We know who's leaving the 48. Who goes to the 88? And let's try and figure out the ripples from that. This is a huge hypothetical episode. I don't care. I just fucking proposed that two guys switch seats on the last season of one of their contracts. I'm trying to think in the abstract here. I realize it's too much for these fucking idiots I'm on the show with, and so everyone's against me.
Well, it took
but who goes to the 88?
Get Red Bull back in the sport. They're not just going to all of a sudden just start cutting checks to Alex Bowman's bum ass.
So Red Bull, right? So Ally is his sponsor. So Red Bull will not be on the car. They'll have to do something when they go around the lights, like smaller type branding, and they could be like a fire suit or a helmet sponsor. I believe Connor is going to stay a Red Bull athlete, which is one of the things that he is. But I don't know where Red Bull fits in, at least right away, because I think the Hendrick energy drink sponsor, they have one called Form. I've never heard of it, PHORM. The contract ends next year. So maybe this is striking while the iron's hot. Hey, Form, pay us a shit ton of money, or else we could have Red Bull on one of our cars, the biggest known energy drink in the land. So there's a lot of shit happening between these sponsors that I think are going to make some of them extremely happy, unless your Form. Who's going to the 88? Who's going to be in the 88 next season? I put down a couple of names just for the hell of it, but I think a lot of fingers are pointing towards Raja Caruth.
Well, real quick, next season it's Zillage.
Excuse me, I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I want to make sure I had the car number right for a second. I was
Who's the next guy to be in the 88 once Connor leaves Trackhouse?
Oof. I mean, there's a couple answers at the top of my mind, like guys I think that might be without a ride at the conclusion of next year, and that would be like Daniel Suarez. But I don't see a scenario in which Suarez goes back to Trackhouse. And then same with guys like Zane Smith. He would be another good fit, I think. But again, he's already been there, done that, and I think he's make good headway with front row. So I don't really know. And again, I think I already named my answer, and I think, honestly, as of this moment right now, the thing I foresee most reasonably happening is them selling the 88 charter to Legacy or RFK before hiring one of these drivers.
What do you guys think? Who's going to be in the 88 in 2028? I'm a tough time at math.
Years down the line, it's like hurting my head.
I think it might be Raja, just based off how Trackhouse has done things, and it's almost like they kind of go like high risk, high reward strategy, and they're not afraid to go young, obviously with like Zillage. So that would be my best guess, but like it's so far down the line.
But it is inevitable. Moon, who can you see wheeling the 88 when Connor Zillage is no longer there?
As it sits right now, I think Spider's answer was probably the most likely. I think it would make the most sense at the moment, but there's a lot of dominoes that could fall. I mean, even speaking hypotheticals, I saw Jeff Gluck put out a article last night about that guy who's, I guess, owns part of Spire and the Cadillac F1 team. Yeah, like he's fucked apparently. Like he's already sold a basketball team and shit. So who knows what kind of trickle down effect that could have. Yeah,
so the fucking Lakers.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. I tried to like peel through that, and I couldn't understand. It seemed like the beginning of that article, and I realized the New York Times article was all like him and Trump take a sauna 2 times a day. You know what I mean? Like they were trying to definitively put those two together. They were on the island together, obviously. And then they went kind of into it. And he's doing some stuff with his insurance companies. So I don't know where we stand with this guy being in an ankle monitor yet. But that could also change the whole look of this thing. Can I ask then what happens to the 88? Is there a way that Zillage can take the 88 to Hendrick, maybe even get the old junior font on it. That's what Dale Tanhart had tweeted last night. 88 the thing, because Jimmy Johnson would scoop up that 48 for legacy in a fucking heartbeat. How do you feel about, and then I think Hendricks had like 25 floating around too. Where do you think Connor should do? Should he sort of keep the 88 and try to have some, consistency? Should he jump into a legendary number, start new with a new number? What do you guys think? Because that's important to NASCAR fans.
I think it would be cool to explore, moving the 88, but I think realistically what's going to happen is it's going to be the 48, and I think that's like a done deal. Like unlike Corey Heim, where we can maybe still sell him on the 67 car, I think Zilich is confirmed in the 48. At least that was evidenced by what I saw on Twitter. Hendrick, I think they said something like, Connor, we got your number, and then it was the 48 with his graphic there. So I do think it'll be the 48. I'm not really losing sleep over this one. I think Zilich has been like, he's so young and he really hasn't had any super, I don't know. Like to me, I don't think of him as iconic numbers, at least at this point yet. So I'm willing to I'm here for a number change if that's what's required.
What do you think? Is there anybody who's sold on the 48 getting out of there or staying?
I think realistically it'll all stay, but I don't hate the idea of just a 4-team number change where everybody's trading for the number they like better. Be fun.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of affinity for it? You weren't a Jimmy Johnson fan, Moon, so you didn't give a fuck where it goes, right?
No, I mean, I think they've proven that they're not scared to change it up with numbers with the Chase Elliott deal and then the Bowman being in the 88 and swapping to the 48 and all that. So I could see them if they think it's a good fit, or if I think the biggest piece to that puzzle would be if Jimmy Johnson pursued it. Cause I think them giving it up for the 500, I think if he truly wanted it for legacy, I don't think Hendrick would have a problem running a 25, or if there's some sort of other number that has a meaning to Zilich that they could kind of start a new legacy with. I think that they'd be open to it as well. So I think it really just depends on what they do with the 48, if that goes to legacy or not, which could happen with all the investors and stuff. It looks like they're trying to get a lot of money in that program. And I think, brand identity and shit matters. I think that there could be some use for the 48 over there. And
it's headlines for them. Like we have, like to Spider's point, I was like, who's jumping in next year? He's like, Large, it's 2 seasons from now. Right? I mean, we have a year and a half of talking about where the fucking number 48 is going to be when we just spent the last 3 years talking about who's going to be in the 48. So I don't know. I think it's something that we're not done talking about by a long shot. But all I know is that we're now a year away from a slightly older SVG in the same shitty equipment versus a slightly more seasoned Connor Zilich in better equipment on road courses, and I'm fucking pumped about it. Does SVG race this little punk kid any different now that they're not teammates? I like seeing them both on the same thing. I didn't like seeing them both in the same car. SVG versus Connor Zilich in better thing. Is that the one that we're looking forward to in 2 years?
I think there's a lot of stuff to look forward to between, like you said, you bring up a good point. I never really thought about Zilich and SVG battling for 2 different teams at a road course, but that is certainly something we'll get to watch in the coming years. And then between that, outside of that, rather, you have guys like Corey Heim and Carson Hocevar with, deep-rooted rivalries that I feel like could continue to provide storylines. So, yeah, I think we're in a great spot in that regard.
Let's start right now because this is a huge guessing game. Since Daytona 500 of 2028, right? And we'll go 5 years out from there. The Daytona 500 in 2028, we kind of know what that field will look like a little bit better now. Who's going to have a better 5-year career from then on? Connor Zilich, Corey Heim, or Carson Hocevar? Who would you guys bet on to have a better career as far as wins? Who would you see to have more W's in 5 years once everyone's comfortable in a Spire car, 2311 car, and the Hendrick 48, maybe 88?
I mean, that's a very good question. I think I would probably go, not unfortunately, but I'd probably go with Corey Heim, and that's probably a chalky answer because he already has 2 wins. But I also look at it based on the fact of like where Toyotas have been running, and I know that's a lot. This is a long time period of a lot could change. But at the same time, the Toyotas have been running good, and Corey Heim for the fact that he has won on multiple different styles of track, both a road course that was unknown to many of the competitors, as well as an oval. So yeah, I think Corey Heim would be the guy I would pick in that.
What about you, Quigs? There's all
I've
hypotheticals today.
Yeah, I drank the Zillage Kool-Aid from the beginning, and honestly, like this year hasn't, like on paper, it hasn't changed what I thought about him as much, like mentally. I've seen a lot of good stuff. I think a lot of the bad stuff can be written down as unlucky or just first year stuff you have to deal with, and I think Zillage is going to be the best out of all three of those guys long term.
Moonhead, is anyone going to say Hocevar? I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not. I think Corey Heim is gonna go on a tear once he's full time, honestly.
And I think too, from Spider's perspective, which I love, is Hocevar. You know, I like the Toyota part with Corey Heim. I think that's what might give me the edge with Corey Heim too. On top of the fact that he's a tremendous wheelman. All right, what else do you guys want to talk about? Oh, what's Ross Chastain thinking right now? If you're Ross Chastain, your Trackhouse is having a pretty shitty year. One of the hosts of Rubbin' His Racing says the Trackhouse should sell the third charter, and two other people agree with him right away. Right? He's without a win. You know what I mean? SVG seems to be getting all the headlines. Ross Chastain is a guy who can win multiple races for any team as long as he's in good equipment. He's never been bandied about as somebody that replaces Bowman or anything like that. What are you thinking if you're Ross Chastain right now?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think he's almost the kind of guy that's probably he seems like he's very tunnel vision. Like, I don't think he's thinking about he's thinking about exactly what is important to him, and maybe not some comparing himself to other drivers or other potential options. I'm sure obviously he would have loved to get a call for it, but at the same time, it's like he seems like a kind of guy that's incredibly loyal to Trackhouse, that was there kind of as it was built. And I could honestly see him kind of remaining there should it continue to kind of trend downward, because I don't know where else he would go. You have guys like SVG, Busher. There's a lot of guys that I think would be free agents that could potentially get more opportunities ahead of Ross Chastain. And that's not to say Ross is not qualified, but I just think there's other guys that are probably more desirable, unfortunately.
So when Reddick left RCR to go to 2311. Obviously, there was a bag thrown at him. That was one of the deciding factors. But I think also Tyler thought that he was building something that could possibly be one of the big four, right? I think that's what he thought. When Ross Chastain, I think with Trackhouse, had also thought, hey, we're the disruptors. We're doing all this shit. I think that whole mindset has changed, perhaps. Maybe not yet, but what I'm saying is that mindset is starting to change to, okay, I'll be here until something better comes up, as opposed to building something with Trackhouse. Is that at least maybe partially true, right? Quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2311 just kind of came in and did everything better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did it better. They had more money for it. Like, it was kind of, like, I didn't even hate, like, Trackhouse's blueprint. I thought they did it well. They had a good idea, and it's just 2311 did it with twice the resources, twice the money,
twice as fast.
Yeah,
and with Michael Jordan at the helm. What do you think? What do you think? Where do you think Ross Chastain ultimately lands, Moonhead? Trackhouse or somewhere else by the end of his career? I'm talking about.
If anybody's a Trackhouse lifer, I feel like it's going to be Ross, just because I feel like the team's kind of been built around him. I think SVG obviously is a huge piece to the puzzle, but he's also already 37 or however many years old he is. And I feel like he's probably, we talked about Larson being done at 40. I think SVG wants to come be competitive in NASCAR for a while, but I could also see him racing rally cars or something in a few years. Like, he just strikes me as a guy who loves racing and everything about it. So I think Ross would be there for the long haul. And I think it would take a major opportunity to get Ross to leave Trackhouse. I could be completely wrong, but I don't see any of the powerhouse teams right now having a spot for Ross, and I don't see Ross really fishing for anything else, because Trackhouse is just a few tweaks away from being a powerhouse team in my eyes.
And Ross does, like, we're at the track this week. it was the Ross Chastain hauler. He moves a lot of merch. That Melon Man shit moves. You know, he has the relationships with some of these sponsors. He's attractive, I think. And I don't think he's brought up enough, you know, perhaps with long-term contracts, which I think roll off after this year or after next season, where he'll probably at least be in the mix more with silly season chatter. All right, so this week we're back the East where we belong, New Hampshire Speedway, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a place that I haven't been. There is no O'Reilly series this week. They pick it up again next week in Daytona, which we'll be at. We'll be at Daytona. So you have the Team EJP 175 on Saturday, August 22nd at 1:30 p.m. That's your truck race. And in the field, you do have Connor Zilic. You got Christopher Bell. You have a bunch of people. You got this young kid, Tristan McKee, who everyone thinks will be the natural progression or the natural replacement for Michael McDowell. So there are a bunch of people to watch on that truck race on Saturday. So it should be an interesting one. No O'Reilly. And then when we go to the Cup, it's going to start Sunday, and coverage will start at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the Dollar Tree 301. Again, we won't be in attendance, but obviously we'll be tuning in. So with that, all we need to do is pick a couple of winners, hopefully, and that's brought to you by DraftKings. Something big is coming. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive offers, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means from Texas to California to Florida, every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get pumped and get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers, sign up with code RUBBIN. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days for all markets. That's code RUBBIN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Boys, I have two picks. If you don't mind, I'm just going to throw them out there to go first.
Please.
I know that Chevrolet is dog water in New Hampshire. They haven't won in a fucking decade there. The only Chevy bet that I'm going to put is Chase Elliott. Top 10 finish is positive money. So I'm going to take Chase Elliott as a top 10. And then the only other bet I put in, Chase Briscoe plus 250 on a top 3 finish. So I have Briscoe top 3. I stole that one from you, Spider?
My card today was going to be both Chases.
Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't think you were going to touch Elliott just because of the way Chevys is shitty. I'm sorry. I went
you're
first.
Good. You're good.
Briscoe were always in a risk to
I got
overlap.
one other pick, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So I got Briscoe plus 250 top 3, Chase Elliott plus 100 for a top 10 finish. That's all I have.
I liked Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe's plus 850 outright. I think the momentum's been running really good with Chase Briscoe. And if you look at driveraverages.com, Chase Briscoe is the third best out of all active drivers in their time at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. His average start is 22nd, and his average finish is 7th. So moving up a tremendous amount of spots, like almost 14, 15 spots on average per race. Like that from Chase Briscoe. Chase Elliott was a little bit longer odds. I believe he's 22-1. Just firing back up my DraftKings app, which again is live in all 50 states. But outside of that, I really liked Josh Berry. Josh Berry for a top 10. If you look at Josh Berry's stats here in his 2 races, he has an average finish of 2.5, and he's finished within the top 5 in both of his 2 races here on the Cup level. So I'm kind of intrigued by Josh Berry. My phone is like glitching right now, so I don't have the odds on that, but I like Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott. That's what I got today.
Gotcha, brother. What do you got there, Chris?
Josh Berry is plus 1,600.
What's he for? Do you have top 10 odds for him?
Yeah, I got you. Minus 125.
All right, fuck it. We'll add that onto my card as well.
All right, and I got a lot of Chase on mine
really?
as well.
We all have Chase.
Yeah.
Fuck with Chase.
I mean, yeah, I guess the stats are really heavy for him. He's in the past 5 races, top 5 in laps led, has 2 top 5s, and I'm taking him to win. I'm taking him top 3, and I'm taking him top 5. Just because the odds are so good. It's plus 2,200 to win, plus 600 top 3, plus 285, top 5.
Jeez, we all found fucking value in somebody nobody's really touching. Good.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably overlooking the fact that they can't win there. But
they can't win there. They can't win fucking. They haven't lifted a lobster, since Zilich was 10 years old. Moonhead, which Chase Elliott bet are you taking this week?
Man, I like a lot of those. I also another Chase. I like Chase Briscoe to just win the race. I like Barry as well. And then kind of a sneaky top 10 I've got my eye on is SVG. I just feel like with how he's run this year and that style of racetrack, I feel like if the cards are dealt right for him, he could easily end up in the top 10. So
cool. So we'll throw SVG in there, who I thought might have been a better option for Hendrick. Congratulations to Connor Zilich. Congratulations to Hendrick Motorsports. Wonderful pickup and gave us something to talk about a little bit more this weekend. Spider and I are not at the races this weekend. We pick it up next week at Daytona. Bumped into Frank in Richmond.
Yes.
I can't wait to get Daytona. Frank. If people don't know, Frank Keller's the guy.
He's the best.
He runs Daytona. All righty, guys. So we will see you guys all next week. Thank you so much for listening to Rubbing His Racing.
Peace.
Peace.